What's going on, guys? Welcome back to CarX Drift Racing. Today we're going to be hosting an FD competition. We got 16 drivers here ready to go, and the winner is going to be taking home this wheel stand from Race GTing. We are here on Shadow Valley for today, so we're going to hop into a quick practice run, show you guys some of the clipping zones and parameters, then we're going to get the comp underway. Hey, whoever's fucking pulling around while I'm doing my intro, park your car! Stop moving! All of you, put your controllers down! Pull! Fucking just put your controllers down! Park the car and fucking put it down, dude! Oh my god. Please just park. You ADHD fucking generation. Quit flashing your lights! No, not you. Nope, you weren't listening to the rules. Someone else. Someone who's not you. Yeah, that's right, troll. Who's someone who was dead still? H1, he was dead still. That's right. Let's go, H1. Let's do this, brother. All right, guys, so we're here with our test run here. H1's gonna hop on the follow for me. I'm gonna be the lead driver. Now, our launch is gonna work as follows. So the lead driver is gonna flash their lights first, then the follow driver is gonna flash theirs. As soon as the follow driver flashes their lights, that means both cars are good to go. Now, obviously, the lead driver is gonna be let out into that first outside zone to the inner. Then we're gonna come down the hill into another outside zone, all the way around outside to a left side outside zone, as the driver behind us is gonna try and make up some proximity. Now, the judging criteria is as follows. The lead driver is gonna be judged on line and angle, whereas the follow driver is going to be judged on line, angle, and proximity to that lead driver. You are allowed to drop one wheel anywhere on the track, but you're not allowed to drop two, and a contact is going to be an automatic DQ for that round. Contact meaning you hit the wall, so if I did this, that's contact. You can tap a door, but you can't crash in a way that's going to cause your car to crash. Other than that, I think that's everything. If you guys are looking to join up in future competitions, make sure you check out the Discord and the Twitch links in the description down below, and we'll put the specs down there too in case you guys are looking to build a car. Other than that, like I said, guys, we got 16 drivers here, so let's get this comp underway. All right, guys, so round number 1 of our invitational bracket here, we have Dark and Animals. And there we go, both drivers with the flash. Dark off to a quick launch. Now, Dark does have a bunch of wins here on NTNS comps. Animals is going to skip his first clip to make up some proximity as Dark is out of the hole quick. Animals does have some work to do as he goes through his second outside zone there. He is catching Dark pretty well here. Dark has some nice angle though, perfectly executed line. Animals has done some hard work to catch up. Other than those first few zones, he really did make up some lost ground here as he gets right back to Dark's door. He's pushing hard here as Dark pulls away a little bit up the hill into that next outside zone, and Dark is gonna cut inside. He totally can do that. He's only gotta hit his clips. He can kind of throw it a little freestyle as he clears that outside, and Animal's struggling just a little bit to get to that door with Dark on a pretty phenomenal first lead there. Great driving from both drivers. We're gonna swap it around. We're gonna give Animals his lead. All right, here we go, guys. Animals on the follow. Animals is gonna flash. Dark is gonna flash, and we are ready to go here. Really nice launch again from Dark as he's not gonna let Animals pull away, although he did miss his outer clip just a little bit there. Dark did, as we head down the hill into our next outer clip. And Animal's really flawless here on his lead line. Dark's gonna have to be pretty much perfect here, but he does have that proximity through those first few zones. As we come through out into another outside clip, Animals with a really nice smooth transition. Dark's gonna run inside a little bit here to stay on his door. We are looking at line before proximity, so I'd like to see Dark out a little bit deeper there, but I have to say he is absolutely stuck here on this man's door. He's not giving him an inch, and something I love that Dark's doing here is he's super tight on his transitions. That front bumper right on the back bumper of Animals. As much as I think Animals was phenomenal with his driving, I think that's gonna pretty clearly move Dark on into round number 2. All right, guys, so that's Dark on into round number 2. After that, we have Hated versus Central. And there it is, guys. 2 Beamer boys. Hated is out the hole super fast, even faster than Dark was, and Central is gonna need to skip his first outside to try and make up some proximity here, as Hated, a phenomenal driver and a VDS champ, is going to be very hard to beat. He's one of our drivers to beat tonight. His line nearly perfect, man. He's just barely scraping by those tires, as Central giving everything he's got here to try and catch up a little bit. Some serious driving here from Central as he's hitting his clips and making up a little lost ground up the hill here. But Hated just super clean, making all his marks, pulling away. He is a stellar driver, man. Like I said, one of our drivers to beat tonight as he comes into that last outside zone. I didn't see a 2-tire drop. I think I saw one up there. And Hated is going to put some serious marks on the board here on his lead. And there we go, guys. Central on his lead here is going to do the same thing. He's going to pull out a little bit as Hated is going to skip his outside. However, he is a lot closer to Central here than Central was to Hated on his run. Oh, Central's going to over-rotate And a little bit of contact is going to move our man Hated on into round 2. So that's going to move Hated on into round 2 to face Dark. That is a battle for the ages. We have our Street Series champ and our VDS champ. That's going to be super sick. Up next, we have H1 and Brex. Now, before we hop into our next battle, guys, I did want to quickly hop over here and give a huge shout out to Central, as well as all the other guys who are running NTNS logos on their cars tonight. They take the time to do that, and it honestly just means the world, so I had to give them a quick little shout out. All right, guys, up next here, we have H1 and Brex. H1 is going to be on the lead, Brex on the follow. Whenever you guys are ready, go right ahead. There's the flash from H1, the flash from Brex, and here we go. Brex was a little bit slow on that launch. H1's going to pull ahead pretty aggressively here. Brex is going to skip his outside zone, try and make up some lost ground as he straightens a little bit. H1 putting the work in here. Really nice lead line. Brex is just trying to make up some distance as best he can, run super far inside here. A little bit of grip on there, a little trouble rotating as he finally gets back on the line here. Throws a nice corner there. See if he can get some rhythm going here in the next couple corners on H1, as H1 absolutely throwing an example of a lead line down here as well. This is another driver that has won Street Series competitions here in the past, and he is not going to go down without a fight tonight. Another driver to watch for sure, as Brex with a beautiful transition. A little bit of a door tap. He might have pushed H1 out a little bit there, but H1 with a really solid lead is going to be hard to beat in this round. All right, guys, here we go. H1 with the follow, Brex with the lead. Whenever you guys are ready, go right ahead. And the flash from H1, they are off, and H1 absolutely killing it on the launch here. He's going to barely miss his outside zone for the sake of proximity. I think he just wants to pretty much stay on Brex's door here. I don't think he's worried too much about his line. I think he's looking to just stay a little bit closer, although I would like to see H1 on his follow, filling out those zones a little better. To be fair, Brex was a little bit inside there on that last outside zone, as H1's going to tap him there. We can't fault Brex. That is going to be a little bit of a fault to H1 here, as H1 with a little bit more of a clean lead line, but he did bump Brex off his line just a little bit on his follow. We're going to have to talk to chat a little bit, as Brex does tap the wall but doesn't spin. We're not going to count that as contact, and then H1 pushes Brex there a little bit. I'm not sure how we're going to call that. Let me consult with chat here. I'll get back to you guys in a sec. All right, guys, so we are seeing more H1s in the chat versus Brex, just because Brex did straighten out on his follow. H1 a little bit cleaner overall. So we're going to move H1 on into round number 2. After that, we have Dura and Ruckus. All right, guys, here we go. Dura and Ruckus. Dura's going to be on the lead. 2 absolutely insane NTNS cars. Whenever you guys are ready, go right ahead. And there's the launch. Dura with a little bit of a slow launch here. Ruckus is going to be able to stay right on his door. Great initiation from both drivers. Ruckus is going to stay a little bit conservative there, as Dura did jump back to the inside pretty quickly. Ruckus is just going to try and follow here with good proximity, as he goes much wider into that outside zone. But he does lose a little bit of proximity here. He's going to try and make up some speed, and he does it here. Let's watch the transition. Ruckus nice and close there with that front bumper, as he's going to gain a little bit of ground here in this outside zone too. Both drivers up the hill, and Ruckus right on Dura's door here. Ruckus pretty new to CarX here, just a few days in game, working on those left foot brakes, trying to get a nice controlled rotation, and he is all over Dura. Dura with maybe a little bit of a stronger line in a few outside zones, but Ruckus right there. We're going to see what Dura can do on his follow here, and we'll make a decision from there. And here it is, guys. Here's Dura's follow. Ruckus is going to get a great launch. He's going to absolutely nail that outside zone, and he's going to take all the speed in the world. He's going to miss that inner clip, though, as Dura did go a little bit far inside. I think he only dropped one wheel. He's going to absolutely nail it from Ruckus there on that second outside zone. And Dura's going to float out a little wide. He's going to lose a whole bunch of proximity, as Ruckus absolutely slaying that outside zone. Dura's going to miss it as he grips up pretty hard, and Ruckus into the wall is devastating. Both drivers with huge mistakes, but Ruckus just a little too aggressively in the wall on his lead line. May move Dura on. Let me consult with chat here. We'll make a decision. I'll get back to you guys. So I'm seeing a whole bunch of OMTs in chat, guys. The way we're going to call this is because Dura straightened really aggressively and Ruckus had some contact. We are going to run the OMT. And there's the launch, guys. Dura is going to try and pull ahead. Once again, Ruckus all over him off the launch. Is going to slightly miss that outside zone as he gets right back on the door, though, for that inside. Down the hill here, Dura is going to hit his clip really well. Ruckus with a little less angle on there. I think he's still working out those left foot brakes just a little bit. Dura with some great angle, although he is a little bit shallow on the midpoint of that outside zone. He is going to pull away just a little bit here as we move into the transition. Ruckus is going to reel him back in as we go into another outside zone up the hill. Let's see if Dura can pull away a little bit. As he does, Ruckus with a little bit of angle correction there just to make up some speed. And Dura is super solid on his line and his angle right now. You can't fault him with a super clean lead as Ruckus gets hung up just a little bit there. Great proximity, but some of the transitions looking just a little bit awkward on that follow from Ruckus, but we have a whole lead for Ruckus to get done here. Let's see what he can do on his lead. And there it is, guys. Ruckus on his second lead here. Dura on his second follow. Ruckus is going to absolutely slay that outside zone and pull away from Dura here. Dura's got some work to do as Ruckus down the hill. He's going to be really careful as he definitely absolutely kills that outside zone. Just a killer lead from Ruckus as he bumps again. That one's not as serious of a contact as last time. However, it is going to be a little bit of a dock here on Ruckus's lead as he goes nice and wide, nice and deep into that last outside zone and up the hill. Dura's struggling. Dura's really struggling with proximity here as Ruckus is just absolutely putting the wax on him. This is going to be another tough call. So Ruckus with a ton of proximity on Dura with a little bit of contact. Is that going to be enough to move Ruckus on, or are we going to hit another OMT here based on Ruckus's lead? All right, guys, so I talked with chat a little bit, and because Ruckus did have 2 points of contact on his leads, whereas Dura actually didn't hit anything, we are going to move Dura on into round number 2. Great driving from both drivers. Up next, we're going to move into our public bracket here. Starting us off, we have Harry Potter and Mr. Moo. So here we go, guys. Round number 1 of our public bracket. We got Mr. Moo on the follow, Harry Potter on the lead. Let's see what these guys can do here. And there we go, guys. A little bit of a flash issue on the launch here. Moo's going to let Harry back out. We're going to disregard that first outside zone. Harry's headlights just aren't working, but Harry's going to get back out into that outside zone here. Moo all over him. Going to push him around on transition just a little bit. We're not going to fault Harry for missing that outside zone just a little bit there as he did get bumped on the transition, but Mr. Moo all over him here is not going to let him have any breathing room as we head up the hill here. See if Moo can stay on his door, and he does as Harry with a really nice line here, hitting his marks, really solid angle. Mr. Moo, though, not letting him pull away one bit. Really solid transition there. That's what we like to see. No contact, but super tight. Moo right back on his door. That's a solid follow from Moo. If Moo can pull away on his lead here, he might be looking pretty good for round 2. So we're going to swap the drivers around here and see what Mr. Moo can do on his lead. So Mr. Moo with a solid launch here on his lead is going to absolutely destroy that outside zone as both drivers get back into the inside. Mr. Moo with just an absolutely disgustingly clean lead as Harry floats out and hits the tires. Oh, Harry was trying to get as much speed into that outside zone as he could to make up some lost ground. And unfortunately, it was just a little too much for him, which is going to move Mr. Moo on into round number 2. So there it is, guys. Mr. Moo into round number 2 here. Up next, we got Pool and K Drizzy. And here we go, guys. K Drizzy's going to grab the follow. Pool on the lead here. Let's see what these guys can do. Both drivers staged up and ready to go. Pool's going to launch here. He's going to pull ahead just a little bit as K Drizzy's going to skip his outside zone, it looks like, here to try and make up a little bit of lost ground. Heading down the hill here. K Drizzy is a last-minute join here. He just figured out a build and got up to spec. Pool obviously has been here quite a bit as he is running a replica here of my NTNS car. He's got his custom colors up there, and he is absolutely throwing that thing down. I'm super impressed with his lead up there. Absolutely killing his zones, ton of speed, nice and wide, great angle on Pool's lead. Pool's looking really good right now. He might be a driver to beat tonight. K Drizzy giving everything he can in this S13 to try and catch up a little bit, but it looks like Pool is going to pull ahead here with a really solid lead. Let's see what K Drizzy can do on his lead as well. All right, guys, here we go. Drizzy with the lead. Pool's going to try and get right on his door. Super solid launch here. And Pool is not going to let him get away. Pool's probably going to try and run it pretty conservative here. He doesn't need to be super stuck to his door. Ooh, and did Pool hit him on that contact? We'll talk to both drivers afterwards as Drizzy does go a little wide there once again. I don't know if Pool pushed him into that first bit of contact. If so, we might need to run that follow back. But I don't think there was any contact, though. It's looking like Pool's gonna move on. All right, guys, so it looks like there wasn't contact, and chat pointed out, which is really smart of them, that even if Pool did hit Drizzy, it was because of Drizzy's 0, which basically means that Drizzy like straightened out and slowed down a little bit. So Pool is gonna move on into round number 2. After that, we have Mason and Strike. All right, guys, so here we go. Strike and Mason. Strike on the follow. Mason on the lead here. Another sick NTNS car. They're both gonna launch here. Mason's gonna pull away. And Strike is going to try and make up some lost ground as he skips that first outside zone into that inner clip. They both hit it really nicely. Down the hill, Mason with a super solid lead. This is going to be tough to catch here. Mason's been practicing hard for this comp. As Mason does straighten out pretty hard and miss a little bit of his outside section, allowing that 3000 GT to hop back on his door here. This is not... Oh, man, it's not a short thing for Mason as he gets a little bit of contact into the rail. Mason with a solid start is starting to struggle a little bit here about halfway through his lead line. Let's see if he can finish strong. Strike keeping just enough proximity here to keep himself in the game. A really nice, solid, controlled follow is going to give Strike quite a bit of an opportunity here to hang with Mason. And there it is, guys. Strike on the lead here. Mason right on his door on the launch. A little bit of lag, it looks like, going on as Strike is going to hard miss his inside clip there as he goes back into the outside. Really solid on that section, though. Mason running far inside, trying to catch up as Mason gripping up. Strike might be taking down a giant here with a solid outside zone as Mason was gripped up, trying to make up some proximity, and Strike is going to pull away again. Mason a little low on angle. Strike really clean here. I'd like to see him a little bit wider as he barely gets the last bit of that outside zone. He does have a cleaner line, it looks like. Mason's going to hit and spin. on the inside. And as much as I would like to see Strike clean up that lead line just a little bit, he is going to move on a spin from Mason. What a battle from these two guys. Let's move Strike on into round 2. So there it is, guys. Strike on into round 2. Up next, we have our final battle of round 1. We got TB and Ice Girl. And there it is, guys. TBM on the lead, Ice Girl on the follow here. TBM with a really solid launch. Ice Girl right back on the door is crazy. Little tap there. We're not going to fault either driver for missing that inside. And Ice Girl right on his door there, I don't think caused that contact, as TBM out a little too wide. It looks like Ice Girl's looking pretty good here. Let's swap the drivers around and see how it goes. And there it is, guys. Ice Girl with a super solid launch here. TB was a little bit slow to get his car going, as Ice Girl is going to absolutely fly through those first 2 clips. Down the hill super wide into that outside zone. This might be the cleanest lead we've seen all day coming out of the public bracket, as Ice Girl just super wide on that outside line. This is crazy. She is putting in work, showing she wants to get out into that finals. Could this be the first time in a long time we've seen a public driver take the championship? We don't know. We're going to watch. We're going to keep an eye on her here. She absolutely slays that last outside zone here. She's going to hit one more clip into the final zone. Off the hill, Ice Girl is going to move forward into round 2. Solid driving there. And that is Ice Girl into round 2, guys. So that is going to round off round number 1. We're going to head back into our invite bracket to see Dark versus Hated. And there we go, guys. Dark on the lead, Hated on the follow. I see that NTNS logo on the back of Hated's car. As Dark out a little bit wider here. Battle of the Titans down the hill. Dark with a super solid lead. Hated's got a little lag going on. I'm sure it looks a little cleaner on his screen, so we're going to give him a little bit of grace there, as he is right on Dark's door. Like I said, Dark with more Street Series wins than anyone else, and Hated coming clean off a VDS win. These are 2 super solid drivers here as they head up the hill. Dark does go a little bit inside there, trying to gain some speed here on Hated. Hated's going to miss his outside clip there just a little bit. So that's going to even both drivers off. That was extremely close proximity there from Hated. Both drivers missing a little bit of an outside zone there as they headed up the hill. This is going to be a solid battle. All right, guys, both drivers lining up. Whenever you guys are ready, go right ahead. We're going to have Dark on the follow, Hated on the lead. Let's see what they can do. And there it is. Ooh, a little bit of jump from Hated there. We're going to let Dark catch up just a little bit as they go down the hill here. Dark did see a slight jump there. Hated did jump off the launch just a little bit before Dark flashed his light, so we're going to give Dark that proximity back on his launch as we're headed back into being about even here. Dark did catch up pretty handedly. Both drivers pretty close to dead even here as Hated drops a wheel on the outside. Let's see what Hated can do up here. Dark went really deep off this zone as Hated absolutely slays that. Both drivers hitting all their clips. Dark with a little correction on his angle there. And I'm thinking that might be an OMT there, guys. I'm not seeing a clear winner out of either of these 2 drivers. We might need to have these guys battle again. All OMTs in the chat here, guys. Everybody wanted to see this one again. Dark on his second lead, Hated on his second follow. As Hated was a little bit shallow in that first outside zone. Both drivers back on their line here. Dark nice and solid, not too shallow, not too deep. Hitting his mark, staying consistent. He knows he's got a formidable opponent here in Hated, as Hated is making a few adjustments, it looks like, to us because of the lag, but I think he is pretty clean on his screen to know Hated. A little bit of an angle adjustment there to get back on Dark's door. He is absolutely stuck to it. That is insane proximity as Dark goes a little inside again, trying to switch it up on Hated a little bit, and Hated found out Dark's strategy as he stays right on his door here. That is a super solid lead and a super solid follow. Both drivers absolutely crushing it. There it is, guys. Here we go. Follow number 2 for Dark. Lead number 2 for Hated. Hated's pretty far out ahead here off the launch. A little bit of an awkward launch. Dark was actually the first to flash, which means Hated was able to launch whenever he could. Dark's going to miss his outside, at least on the entry there, to try and gain a little bit of proximity back on Hated's door. And Hated throwing a little bit more angle as well as... Oh, and Hated into the wall is devastating. Hated was pulling away, and he did catch some contact there. Now, that's not going to totally DQ him. It wasn't a full contact. It wasn't like a spin or anything. But we're definitely going to be looking at that. That might be just enough where everything else has been flawless for these drivers. that might be just enough to move Dark on into round number 3. Let's talk with the chat. We'll make a call. I'll get right back to you guys. All right, guys. After a little bit of consultation here with the chat, we are going to move Dark on into the next round just based on that contact there from Hated. Absolutely solid battle from both drivers. After that, we're going to have H1 and Dura. Here we go, guys. H1 on the follow, Dura on the lead. H1 gets a solid launch here. He actually had to let Dura ahead a little bit as Dura super clean on his lead. Down the hill, H1 with a little bit of lag on my end there is going to stay right on Dura's door. He's going to push Dura. We're not going to fault Dura there. H1 caught him on transition. That is a fault to H1. And here we go, guys. H1 with some serious work to do on his lead. He's going to do everything he can here to pull away on Dura as he does hit his outside there on his entry. Dura trying to make up some lost ground as H1 is a little bit faster here. Dura's going to miss another clip. We're going to see if H1 can cause a fault here as Dura runs inside to keep that proximity up. Now, we are looking at line here. H1 super solid on his lead. Ton of angle, super, oh, and H1 into the wall a little bit there as well. H1 absolutely killing it here as far as his line, but between the contact on the wall and the contact on his follow, Dura may be moving on some technicalities here. H1 super fast, killing his outside zones. But we're going to have to talk to chat about this one and see if Dura moves on or if we can justify an H1 OMT. All right, guys, so chat voted for an OMT. Reason being H1 did have some contact, but Dura was missing most of his clips as well, so they found that both drivers were almost equally at fault. So we're going to run this back here once again. Dura on the lead, H1 on the follow. Whenever you guys are ready, go right ahead. And there it is, guys. Dura with another solid launch. H1 right on him again here. He's going to try and get that outside clip. A lot of drivers electing to skip that outside on entry for the sake of proximity, which is an interesting choice here. We are judging line first as Dura super clean here. A little bit slow on transitions. H1 choosing to get a little bit of angle off his line for the sake of proximity. A lot of clutch kicks, it looks like, just trying to keep the car in drift here as Dura a little bit slower, which is fine. We got to keep in mind too, though, H1 as they swap around might be able to pull away a little bit more when they both run some clean leads here. Dura, though, hitting his marks really nicely. H1 right on him. A little bit less angle on H1, and Dura drops 2 wheels out. Is super sad. The rest of his line super solid, but H1 is gonna have H1's car looking bouncy here. But H1 is gonna have a pretty solid advantage there after the 2-wheel drop. Let's swap them around and see how they do. And here it is, guys. H1 on lead number 2 is gonna pull ahead really aggressively off the launch into his first outer clip into the inside. Absolutely killing it. Dura's gonna have to make up some distance here as he goes pretty fast, over-rotates a little bit. He's gonna have to correct as H1 pulling ahead with a super clean line. Dura's gonna miss his whole outside zone here for the sake of proximity, and H1 is looking pretty good. He's gonna try and keep it clean, not hit the wall through here, and he does it pretty well as Dura running insides, just trying to keep that proximity up. H1 absolutely killing that lead line, though. It's looking pretty good for H1 here. 2-tire drop from Dura, straightens out, grips up a little bit, and H1 is going to move on into the next round. And there it is, guys. H1 up on into the next round. That's going to do it for our invite bracket for that round. Up next is going to be Moo and Pool for the public bracket. And here we go, guys. Pool and Moo, 2 NTNS legends, as Mr. Moo with a super solid launch here on that Supra. Pool's in the Supra, Moo in the 240, and Moo is all over Pool here as Pool a little bit shallow into that outside clip. He did hit it. He's going to try and keep it nice and solid as Moo with a little bit of a push there isn't going to cause any trouble. I don't know if that's a door tap or contact. That's pretty close. But Moo is all over that thing as Pool throwing down a super clean lead line here, but Moo is just absolutely stuck to him, not giving him any breathing room up the hill here. Both drivers super wide out past that outside. Into the final zone here. Moo gets back to his door, and Pool cannot pull away from Moo here. That is an extreme follow from Mr. Moo. Let's swap the drivers around here and see what Pool can do on his follow. And here we go, guys. Moo with the lead here. Let's see what Pool can do on his follow. As Moo super solid. Pool a little bit inside. Same proximity to start here. Pool all over him. Moo with a super clean line through there. I feel like, oh, a little correction from Pool. As Moo, I feel like, had a little bit more of a solid line on both his lead and his follow up to this point. The proximity about the same. Pool's battling a little bit through here. I feel like Moo might have been a little closer as Pool does gain as we come up the hill. Pool's gonna try and gain a little bit more distance, and he does it. Up the hill is crazy. Are we gonna see Moo move on, or is this gonna be an OMT off a super solid follow from Pool? We're gonna watch for tire drops as they both bring a lot of speed in that outside zone. And I don't know, that might be an OMT from me. Let's consult with chat and I'll get back to you guys in a sec. All right, guys, so we did vote for an OMT, although Pool did have a little bit of correction there. The proximity was about the same and it wasn't super clear on the chat vote, so we are gonna run an OMT here. Whenever you guys are ready, go right ahead. And there it is, guys, another OMT, Pool and Moo. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a clearer winner here as Moo just absolutely stuck to Pool's door there on that entry. Pool's gonna try and pull away a little bit as we come down the hill, but it's looking super solid here on Moo's end. His follows. Oh man, as he goes a little deep, he's not gonna hit the tires. That was close. Pool with a little bit more of a solid zone through there. Nice angle on him. He's gonna go a little bit shallow into that entry on the rail. I don't blame him. That's been scooping people up all night. Pool with the one tire drop into the grass back there a little bit, trying to gain some speed as we go up the hill, and Moo's not gonna let him pull ahead one bit here. Super tight transition. Heading into that last outside zone, Pool cannot pull away. That's just a super solid follow from Moo as well. Man, these guys are putting in work tonight. And here we go, guys. Moo on his second lead of the round. Moo is super solid on his follow, and Pool is falling behind just a little bit here. Moo is just all over him through these sections. Pool struggling a little bit to keep the speed up. He is going to miss his outside zone just a little bit on entry there to try and get back to Moo's door. Moo all over Pool through this section on his follow. A little bit more angle, and Pool's gonna push him. We're not gonna fault Moo for bumping the wall there. Moo did decelerate a little bit, but I think that looked a little bit more awkward on the follow car as Moo with just a little bit more speed and proximity through here. If he didn't earn it last round, he was gonna... Did he drop a wheel there? I think he dropped one, not two. It's looking pretty good for Moo. Let me talk with chat real quick and see if Moo dropped 2 wheels there or not, but I'm thinking Moo's gonna move on. All right, guys, so it looks like that was a 1-wheel drop according to chat. Moo is gonna move on into the next round, and up next we have Strike versus Ice Girl. And here we go, guys. Strike in the 3000 GT, Ice Girl in the Karen Fudo GTX. I'm just kidding. We have an AE86, and Ice Girl all over Strike's door here. Into the outside zone. Ice Girl looking super solid yet again here. Gonna make up some proximity as she misses that outside entry just a little bit, but all over Strike's door. This is a great battle, guys. The public side of the bracket absolutely killing it here. Strike super smooth. Ice Girl with insane proximity. This is absolutely crazy as Strike does have a little bit of a better outside zone there. Ice Girl was a little bit inside. Like I said, guys, we are looking for line first as Strike misses the inside of that last outside zone. Ice Girl on his door. Just super solid driving from both drivers there. We're going to swap them around and see how it goes. And here we go, guys. Strike on his follow here. Ice Girl's going to have to jump out ahead again into that first entry. Absolutely crushes it, and Ice Girl's got all the speed in the world here as we head down the hill. Strike's going to try and catch up here into this outside section, and he does it. Little tap on transition as Ice Girl super solid into that outside zone here. A super long one. See if she can build some speed into this transition as we hook left to go up the hill, and she does it. Strike trying to make up some distance here as we head up the hill. Ice Girl super solid on that lead. Nice and smooth, a ton of speed. And Strike just trying to make up some lost ground. Is he going to be able to do it? Ice Girl hitting her clips. Just a super solid lead run. Is that two? Oh, it was 1 wheel out. Ice Girl absolutely killing it on that last outside zone. And I feel like that's going to move Ice Girl on based on her lead. I am going to talk with chat real quick and figure that out for you guys. We'll get right back to you. And that is going to be Ice Girl on into the next round, guys. We are going to move back over into the invite bracket for our semifinals. 2 absolute Street Series legends here. We have Dark versus H1. And here we go, guys. Dark on the lead, H1 on the follow. Dark with a little bit of speed on H1 here on the entry. Hits both of his clips really well. H1 did opt to go a little bit inside on his entry as both drivers, whew, that was close. H1 had to hop on the brakes pretty aggressively there. As we go back into the outside, H1 getting pulled on just a little bit here. Let's see what they can do in the transition as H1's gonna miss the entry there. Dark with a super clean lead line is gonna pull away up the hill, and Dark absolutely putting work in here. 2 240s. Absolutely slaying it. H1 trying to make up a little lost ground here. Is going to go to the inside of that outside clip just a little bit. Is Dark going to drop 2 wheels? He's not. Dark with an absolutely flawless lead line there. A little bit of proximity on H1. Let's see what H1 can do with his lead. And here we go, guys. H1 on his lead. Let's see what Dark can do on his follow. Dark was nearly flawless, as he does have a little bit more of a solid entry than H1 did here. Points going Dark's way as they both head down the hill. Really nice proximity from Dark. He's going to be nice and careful on the transitions. Definitely doesn't want to cause any contact as H1 nice and wide, though, through this outside section, and Dark gets back on his door. It's looking good for Dark here. 2 absolute legends going at it. H1 makes a little contact on the wall. Is going to straighten him out a little bit as Dark plants it on his door. This is just top quality driving here from Dark as H1 back into the last outside sections. Dark right on his door. I don't think we can call that any other way. I think that's going to be Dark moving on. And that is going to be Dark moving on into the finals here, guys. Up next, we have Moo versus Ice Girl for the second spot in the finals. And here we go, guys. Second run for the finals. We got Moo and Ice Girl. Ice Girl with a super solid entry on Moo's door here. Moo's going to try and catch some speed down the hill. He does a little bit here. Ice Girl Right back to him though, that GTX. I keep calling it a GTA car. She's absolutely killing it in that 86. She's making up a ton of lost ground here. As Moo into that outside section, super solid. It is a solid lead from Moo, nice and planted, no corrections. Really well done, but Ice Girl all over his door. Into the last few outside sections here, Moo is gonna be a little bit slow as Ice Girl all over him here. Let's see what Ice Girl can do on her lead, but it's looking pretty good for Ice Girl here as well. And here we go, guys. Ice Girl on the lead, Moo on the follow, is right on her door here as Ice Girl's gonna try and make up that speed. Down the hill, Moo not giving her an inch here. On transition, Moo's a little late as he runs inside to Ice Girl's outside on that second section here. She's crushing it. She's gonna try and build a little speed through the transition. Let's see if Moo can catch her door. And he does as he floats out a little wide. Ice Girl's gonna gain speed up the hill. Moo's gonna try and make up that lost ground here as we go into one more outside section before the rail. And Ice Girl with some solid proximity. See if she can pull. She goes super wide there, watching those wheels. Moo to the inside a little bit. Is Ice Girl gonna move into the finals, or is it gonna be an OMT? And Ice Girl is gonna move on into the finals based on her lead. We're gonna have both of these drivers line it up and see who wins today's wheel stand giveaway. And here it is, guys. Final battle. We got Dark on the lead to start, Ice Girl on the follow. We're gonna see what these drivers can do. Two absolute legends here. Dark with a super solid lead. Ice Girl not gonna give him an inch on entry here. Dark hits his clip super solidly. Really nice, even smooth transitions, but Ice Girl all over that door. Dark hitting his marks, staying consistent. Ice Girl a little bit inside there for the sake of proximity. We are looking for line first and foremost as Ice Girl hitting the brakes a little bit there. Her car looking super gripped up here as Dark might be using that to his advantage here, just staying nice and slow and smooth. Hitting his marks, nice conservative lead line, but Ice Girl is not giving him an inch. Let's see how it works out on transition here. Ice Girl with that shorter wheelbase working out really well for her, not giving Dark any room to transition, and that is an absolutely insane first run. And here it is, guys. Ice Girl on her lead, Dark on the follow this time. Both drivers super solid for their first outside as Dark swings it a little wide and loses proximity. Ice Girl's throwing it down super wide into that outside section. Is she gonna win without any OMTs here? Dark running inside to go back to catch her door there. They're even through this section. I will say Dark looking a little bit smoother here as Ice Girl was pumping the brakes and gripping up just a little bit. Ice Girl with much better proximity for the first half of the run though, as Ice Girl builds speed, drops a wheel, and pulls ahead for the sake of proximity. Ice Girl super fast, super wide transition. She drops one wheel, not two. Is that gonna be it, guys? Does Ice Girl win the comp? We're gonna talk with chat and we are gonna let you guys know. And that is gonna do it for today's comp, guys. Huge shout out to Ice Girl coming out here and winning the comp from the public bracket. This comp was so much fun. Huge shout out to all the drivers that came through, everyone who hung out and streamed with us. This was so much fun. If you guys are looking to hang out in the next comp or drive in the next comp, make sure you guys check out the links in the description down below. If you guys are watching this on YouTube and you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys a ton. If you did enjoy the video or found it useful at all, please feel free to leave a like down below and subscribe for more just like it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.